Good evening. We've taken our first small steps on the road out of lockdown, with some restrictions being lifted in what everyone hopes is the beginning of the end of the pandemic. From today, all children can return to school for face-to-face teaching. You can now socialise outdoors with one other person from outside your household, not just for exercise, but you must maintain social distance. And care homes can now allow residents regular indoor visits with one named person.
Well, in a moment, we'll speak to families who've been able to hold the hand of a loved one in a care home for the first time in almost a year. But first, our education correspondent Peter Bean reports on a monumental day for children, parents and schools across the East Midlands.
The road to freedom begins here at the school gates. The Pingle Academy in Swadlincote in Derbyshire today welcomed back the first of its students. By Thursday, all 1,300 will be back in class.
Some of you will have loved being at home and working from home. Some of you will be delighted to be back.
For most, it's their first time in school since before Christmas. Yes, there have been changes. Students are now asked to wear face coverings in lessons. But it's good to be back.
I've missed it a lot. I mean, it can be quite difficult to talk to people online and interact with teachers and stuff, so it's much easier and better to be able to see each other face to face.
I think it's like, the first step back to, normal life.
So you're going to go into Bay 1 for me, OK?
The route back to the classroom is via the sports hall, or as it's now known, the testing centre.
Mass testing is the foundation of the government's strategy to get schools back safely. Initially, all secondary school pupils will have 3 tests in school. They'll then have testing kits to take home, where they'll test themselves twice a week.
I feel safe because we've all tested negative, so it's not like it's less risky, isn't it?
It's not just pupils who've had a stop-start year. Rosie Patrick is a newly qualified drama teacher. Having launched her career last September, today felt like she was starting all over again.
For me, been very much about just refinding my feet to making sure I've got all my routines in place ready for seeing the students again this week.
The full reopening of schools isn't without risks. The government has made 2 big calls, bringing all schools back at once and resisting calls for school staff to be vaccinated.
For us, education is a national priority. Our children are our national priority, and that is why we have prioritised education over everything else. These moves out of lockdown, they are irreversible, so schools will be remaining open.
Top priority for schools will be checking in on their students' well-being. 2 words you won't be hearing them use are catch-up.
I think you've got to be careful with catch-up. The students have been out of school for a long time. They've not been doing nothing. There's obviously going to be a few challenges for 1 or 2 students, but I don't think the answer now is to continue to add more onto what they've already got.
The Pingle Academy has a rather eye-catching address. Students and staff, though, will be looking to ease back into school life without any dramas. Peter Bean, ITV News, Swadlincote.